Hello, it's Lindy, and I'm here with Jenga, my game of Jenga. Actually, it's my son's game of Jenga, to talk to you today about whole body integration. That's a big mouthful of words. And if you take each word separately, whole, we kind of all know what that means, right? The whole thing, the complete thing. Body, we sort of know what that is. Integration, meaning connecting all the pieces, parts. So a lot of practitioners say that they do integrative medicine, integrative holistic practice, integrative therapy, integrative massage. That word integration gets thrown around, I think, a little bit too much, because what does that really mean? We can all nod wisely and say, oh yeah, I totally get what that means. And around here at my studio, people will a lot of times say, oh yes, I get it, everything's connected. And yeah, that's true, but we don't necessarily understand in here what that means, everything's connected. I can get something intellectually, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I can get it in my body, in my nervous system, in my energy system. I can just get it up here. Yes, everything's connected. If I pull on this sheet that's underneath my game of Jenga, do you think I might disrupt it? Yes. I can do something over here and disrupt this whole stack of blocks that I have in front of me. So if you think about this in your body, something can happen to one part of your body and it can disrupt the whole thing. So we're going to use our Jenga blocks just to give you an idea of how things are connected and how one thing might influence something else tomorrow, next week, next month, or even 10 years from now. And this is the world of whole body integration, where one thing that might seem completely unrelated can influence the whole system. And why it's so important when you are working with your body that you look at the whole system and how everything is integrated. So I'm going to take a block out of this little stack right now, and we'll see what happens. It's a little bit unsteady on the boxes that I have it on top of. But let's say I'm going to remove a block from this stack. And some of you have probably played this game of Jenga. The idea is to take the block out, oh yay, and not have the whole thing topple down. And then the idea is to start setting the blocks up on top so that we maintain a certain amount of adjustment in this structure. So you can imagine if we're playing a game of Jenga and we start taking things out, and of course you try and go for the things that look like it's going to help to maintain. So part of the strategy would be to take out these middle pieces, which in the stack I made them red for the top part so you can see what that means. Part of the strategy might be I'm going to take out the middle pieces because then I'm not going to unbalance the structure. But let's say this is an ankle sprain that happened when you were 15 years old. And you go to the doctor, and maybe the doctor puts you in the cast, or maybe your doctor straps you up and does something or other to your ankle. And then the doctor says, okay, it's all healed. Now you're going to go to physical therapy, and you take your ankle off to physical therapy, and physical therapist works on your ankle and says, okay, that's all good. Your range of motion is better. Your strength is back. But what did you actually do to integrate this ankle back into the whole system? Did your leg, your pelvis, your spine, your shoulder girdle, your head, your arms, and your other leg learn how to reintegrate all this new information that you just got, this experience that you just went through with your ankle? Did you learn how to reintegrate that back to the whole system? If you didn't, so if the scenario is, somebody only looked at your ankle, or maybe the scenario is you had a sprained ankle, nobody took care of it, you just kind of had a limp for a while and then you forgot about it. Your whole body didn't get any information about how that ankle works with the rest of you. So instead of putting that ankle back into the stack, and ideally we'd put it right back where it was so that it can be part of your body again and hold up the rest of your building, as it were. You now have a permanent vulnerability in your structure. And maybe you get away with that for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But at some point, the rest of the structure is going to have to adapt so much that it's going to collapse. And this is true if it's an injury, if it's a surgery, if it's something like having a job where you sit at a desk all day or work overhead or have to do a lot of bending, anything like that, whether it's postural, structural, injury, surgery, even holding a position because of fear or grief can permanently make your structure vulnerable if you don't integrate it as a whole. So let's imagine that we had this ankle sprain and we did nothing about it. And now we have a knee problem. So let's say this is the knee problem happening further up the chain. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit just to show you what this might look like. But can you see how I just created a little bit of a tweak in the structure of my blocks just by taking that second block out? So now what happens if I get myself in a car accident? So let's say this block down here is the car accident. So I just did pretty well actually pulling that out. I have to say I should sign myself up for another game of Jenga. So if I stack all of these guys on top, my building still looks like it's pretty good, right? But at some point, what's going to happen is there's going to be some injury, some insult, some little thing like I bent down to pick something up off the floor, or all I did was step off a curb, or maybe it's something emotional. Some big event happened in your life, and it destabilizes the structure. And what's going to happen is eventually over time, you are no longer going to be able to adapt to all of those different things that keep happening to you, and the whole thing is going to fall apart because you didn't keep integrating. So no matter how old you are, no matter what's happened to you in your life, there's always a way to keep looking at the body as a whole structure and reintroducing it to itself so that that never happens. Thanks for watching.